Hello, welcome back to Amy's grammar mini videos. Today we're going to study the passive. So the passive is always when the subject receives the action, so it doesn't do anything, it has something done to it, okay? The classic example is I was born in Barnet in 1972. I didn't do anything. I might have screamed when I came out, but my mum did all the work. Okay, she did the pushing. So I was born, but I did pretty much nothing. So moving on to the next screen. Okay, we can say, what is the passive? So we use the passive voice when the action or the event we're describing is more important than the person who does it. Okay, so where we would say in the active, we do our homework in the afternoons, the passive, you'd have the active subject taken out and you'd say, our homework is done. Okay, it doesn't mention who does it. All right, so for example, the second example here is Tim Berners-Lee invented the internet in 1990. That's the active voice. If you take out the active agent in that, which is Tim Berners-Lee, okay, you'd say the internet was invented in 1990. Yeah, Tim is important, but the most important thing that we're interested in is when was the internet invented. Okay, you can add him in afterwards if you want, as in by Tim Berners-Lee. But the passive serves to give us the most important information without any detail. We need extra detail. So next slide goes like this. When do we use it? We use it when it's not important who does the action. Okay, and we also use it when it's already obvious who does the action, so we don't need to mention it again. Or number 3, we use it when we don't know who did the action and we don't really care. Or number 4, if we want to say who did the action because it is interesting, even though it's not essential, we can add by, for example, Tim Berners-Lee at the end. Okay, so next slide. Here are some examples. So when in the first example, it's not important who does the action, we can say as an example, my phone was made in Sweden, as in by Nokia, okay? So it doesn't matter which workers actually constructed it, it was just made in Sweden. So my phone was made in Sweden, end of story. Okay, next example. So when it's already obvious who does the action, we say, our homework is done in the afternoons. Okay, we know you do your homework. Well, we hope so anyway. So you don't need to mention it. Okay, what about if we don't know who did the action? So we say the man was shot at 2 a.m. or that person was robbed at 3 a.m. So we don't know who shot the person or who robbed the person because they ran away really quickly and the police haven't found them yet. So we can't report the name of the person. We just have to name the action. And then the last example is if we want to say who did it, but it's obviously not the most important thing, we add it as an extra afterwards. So we can add by at the end of the sentence, like the internet was invented in 1990 by Tim Berners-Lee. Okay, so now let's have a look at how we construct it. So the passive is made by taking out the object and then adding the correct form of the verb to be. That's in any tense, okay, or whatever tense is appropriate, and then adding the past participle. So that's the third column in the past tenses columns. So it looks like this. The present simple version would be my homework is done. Present continuous version would be my homework is being done. Yeah. Past simple version would be my homework was done. The past continuous version was my homework was being done. And the present perfect is my homework has been done. Okay, so leave me alone now, I'm resting and I'm watching telly. That kind of stuff. Okay, so now look at when we use it or when you're likely to find it. So we often find the passive voices in these kind of places. So things that talk about or report on history. So, for example, paper was invented in China, or fireworks were invented in China. We have no idea who invented paper. It was too long ago. There's no records. We don't know. So we can't report it. So we just say paper was invented in China. Or sometimes we do know. So we say America was discovered by Christopher Columbus. The most important thing was America was discovered. And we want to emphasise that. But we add on Christopher Columbus at the end. And the next example is in the explanations of processes or instructions. Okay, so a lovely example here is chocolate egg cake. So the eggs and the sugar and the butter are beaten together. The flour, cocoa, baking powder and salt are added to the mixture. The milk is poured. Okay, the ingredients are mixed and it is baked. So we don't know who's going to make this thing. In fact, it's a recipe, so anyone can make it. So we're not interested in who makes it. We're just interested in the actions and reporting them. And then the last example, it's from newspaper reporting. This happens quite a lot. So the Earth is being visited by 57 species of extraterrestrials, apparently, according to the Los Angeles Times. I'd take that with a pinch of salt. So that's it. That's the passive. Now go play with it. Do your exercises. Bye.